Elite's Econoloft, the country's leading national loft experts, well known as the Loft Conversion Authority, are here in a Cheshire village, this time for a single Velux window loft conversion. Our owners, like many others, realised the value of all that dead space wasting up there in their loft. The conversion is going to create one extra bedroom with an ensuite washroom and WC. Access is from a single wind staircase up from the first floor, running flush with the party wall and ending at the top with a drop landing. The Velux window will be situated over the new bedroom at the back of the house, facing in a southerly direction. The scaffolding's been erected and the materials have arrived. There is quite a lot to unload. The squally weather didn't help, but soon it was all neatly stacked and sheeted, ready to start. Here's the loft. It's a restricted place to move around with its truss roof construction, quite typical. A new central heating system made the original cold water tank redundant, so it's used as a mini skip. Outside, the roof tiles are being removed. We bring in the materials through the roof, meaning very little disruption to the occupants' day-to-day living routine. It's the easiest way to get the tank out too. Holes are chipped out in the inner cavity block walling to take the load-bearing steel supports, which take the weight for the new conversion and give strength to the ceiling of the room below. They sit on spreader plates, which are made perfectly level. Econoloft make the steel supports, which are industry approved in their own workshop. Making them in sections is logistically more economical and they're easier to handle in a confined space. Our steels are hoisted up using a winch, one by one. In they come. Now for the job of manoeuvring the steel supports through the trusses and into their positions horizontally along each side of the loft. When they're bolted securely together, they form a strong, rigid framework. Econoloft pioneered this method of joining the steel supports together for a loft conversion. Next came the timber infills. These are secured inside each of the channels and will support the floor joists and dwarf walls. The existing roof rafters need to be strengthened. The planners at Econoloft know all about load-bearing requirements. They have all been calculated. The existing loft insulation is rolled back to clear space for the new floor joists, which span the width of the loft. These are attached to the steel supports using heavy-duty hangers. Now we're well on the way with the foundation work. It wasn't too long before all the additional joists were in place and the rock wool was cut, rolled out and packed in over the original insulation. It also provides a level of soundproofing too. The openings made for the steel supports are repaired and neatly cemented in. Before the floor can be laid, the remaining roof trusses have to be sawn off, creating much more freedom of movement. This was followed by laying the floor, first one side and then the other. Work progressed and some of the framework for the dwarf walls had already been put in place. The steel ridge beam is now in position. Just like those used for the floor, it too is supported at each end by the inner cavity wall. An area of the floors left open for the plumber to lay the piping for the central heating and the washroom. The soil pipe for the WC was also plumbed in. The first fix electrician came and fixed all the new wiring into the relevant positions. Now to enlarge the opening in the roof for the installation of the Velux window. It needs to be done in fine weather, and this morning we have bright sunshine. Because of its size, a lot more slates need to be removed. The opening presents an opportunity to lift in the large sheets of wall insulation. While the preparation for the window continues, the first sheets of insulation are measured, cut to size and inserted between the rafters. Next, the window frame was carefully manoeuvred into position and secured. When this was done and the surrounding slates had been cut and replaced, the final components were fitted on the outside of the frame. It's a job neatly done as usual. Soon the window itself was slotted into its frame and made fully operational.
Perfect.
Inside, a timber architrave surrounding the windows being secured while more insulation is being fitted. It's all good teamwork. Delivered on time, the single winder staircase arrives in 2 pieces. The stairway will lead to a drop landing which is already in place. Then the ceiling above had to be cut out to make headroom for the stairway. A short time later, the wind section of the staircase is secured into position. And then the main flight. No more climbing ladders. From now on, the climb to work is going to be very, very easy. With the insulation complete, the work was then inspected and passed by a building inspector who gave the go-ahead to proceed and plasterboard the walls. The openings on each of the dwarf walls are for access to the useful storage space behind. Every aspect of this installation has been carried out meticulously, including the interior joinery. Just by looking at the joints, you can see that a professional is at work. The evidence is all around in a loft conversion that's almost finished. Time now for our plasterers to do their job, providing a superb finish throughout. Wall after wall, perfectly flat and smooth. Amazing how they achieve this. At our next visit, the plumber's at work on the central heating radiator and the recently done plastering is drying out nicely. The electrician's been and installed all the switches and plug sockets, and on the ceiling are downlights, bright and unobtrusive, perfect for a room like this. We leave the loft conversion with the plumber installing the WC and wash basin. The next time we visit, all will have been newly decorated to complete the finished picture. And here it is. This is the first floor landing. It leads you along to a pleasant little corner with a chair where bookshelving utilises the wall space at the foot of the single wind staircase, the way up to what was the loft. Now it's a bright and airy room occupied by twin single beds. It has an inviting atmosphere, and considering this was a small conversion, there's a surprising amount of room to move around in. All enhanced with a large window out to the sun and the atmospherics of the passing clouds, or a starlit sky at night. Looking back towards the doorway, it's clear to see how the loft space was utilised to its maximum during planning, with provision for the washroom and its WC. It all fits together so comfortably. It's cheerful and bright. If you would like to have your loft converted into extra living space for a study or for your growing family, phone the experts today and move up, not out, with Elite's Econoloft, the complete solution from plans to plaster. Call for free now on 0800 269 765 or visit our website www.econoloft.co.uk.